A journey to where nature is at her most magnificent and forbidding. To mysterious places where dazzling and diverse cultures flourish. Where China's numerous ethnic groups draw you into a world of color and vibrancy. Where distinct lifestyles, traditions, and crafts have survived the test of time. Join Travelogue on its 17-part Ethnic Odyssey, visiting more than 100 places across China. Ethnic Odyssey, an enlightened look at China's rich ethnic heritage.
In this episode of Travelogue, we embrace the bitter cold and wash it down with some spicy kimchi to give you a taste of life with the Korean minority.
Variety of China's landscape, diversity of its people. Welcome to Travelogue's Minority Series. 안녕하세요. That's how you say hello in Korean, and that's going to come in handy for later. We start our journey in a small, quiet, traditional Korean minority village, and we're about to make our journey into their lives.
We start our travels at the place it all began. The ancestors of the Korean minority first came to China from the Korean peninsula in the late 17th century. But it was not only until the 19th century that large groups of migrants arrived and settled in northeast China. At first, it was to avoid oppressive feudal landlords in Korea, but later, famine and warfare launched by Japan eventually became the main reason. The Highlanjiang is a place of tribute, and in the old days, the place where Korean migrants first crossed before settling down. And once they settled, they built houses in the traditional Korean architectural style still seen today. More fortunate households would tile their roofs, while the less financially sound would have thatched straw roofs. Personally, though, I think there's a certain nostalgic appeal about a thatched roof. Chances are, if you visit a traditional Korean minority village home, you'll probably spot bunches of red-hot spicy chili drying outside in the sun. The Korean minority has a soft spot for spicy food. I'm not complaining. Kimchi is one of my favorite. But before you can get to the food, you need to find the door in. In these traditional homes, the doors look the same as the windows, so sticking your head in for a peek might prove to be quite the challenge. Once inside a traditional home, don't be surprised if you find tools that date back and large earthen pots filled with kimchi. Another great piece of equipment are the old water pumps that lead directly to the underground wells. The indoor water supply must come in especially handy over winter. These totem poles are pretty hard to miss. In the old days, the Korean minority practiced totemism and ancestor worship. Nowadays, it's more out of tradition than religion, but you'll still see them around. I'm not entirely sure what these structures are, but if it's the same as the Mongolian albao, I'd best place a rock on the top and make a wish, just in case. Yanbian and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, also known as North Korea, share a long border. We journey along, and from a distance you can see the border. The land might look the same, but if you look hard enough, you'll see the differences in architecture. It might just be a line, but there is so much significance here. And what better way to capture the moment than with a picture to take home to your family and friends?
Whoop, can't go any further. This might look like any ordinary quiet city, but this bridge here in Tumen City is China's East Gate and also the border of North Korea. So if I were to take a couple steps forward, I'd be in a different country entirely. Can't do that.
Most of the time, there is only one narrow stream that divides the countries, and from there you can see the other side. People from the two nations, China and the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, can go into the river, but they aren't allowed to go into the other nation's bank. The river is common ground. The same bridge looks different on its respective side. It's so surreal standing in China and being able to see three countries with a sweep of the eye. I've always loved being at borders, the place where two, or in this case, three nations meet, and the cultural influences they have on one another. Not to mention the amazing scenery. If I look down, I see traditional Chinese architecture, and right in front of me, Russian-style homes. They really are close by, and there's a saying here in Fangchuan, a rooster's morning call will wake up your two neighboring countries' villages. It's a slow morning, and we head to Yanji, the capital city of the Yanbian Korean Autonomous Prefecture. It's pretty much like any other small city, but the Korean minority residents here still maintain the same customs and virtues of the villagers with a modern twist. Hello, cutie. It's Grandpa's birthday, and the entire family wishes him good health and prosperity before bowing to show their respect and thanks. Respecting their elders is a custom in the Korean minority, as is loving their children. And for any doting grandparents, it's also an excuse to give the kids a little money for candy. It's not every day that I get to visit and befriend a Korean minority family, so you can imagine how excited I am to get in. Always remember, though, to take off your shoes. You'll probably never see a dirty Korean home. It's customary to keep a clean house, and floors can be swept several times a day. The Korean minority especially loves singing and dancing, and even if it wasn't a celebration or festival like it is today, they would still sing together. And turns out, they start at an early age too. You can see how respected the old people are here. Every year on August 15th in the Chinese lunar calendar, there's a festival called the Day of Older Persons. In Korean tradition, the young are forbidden to drink or smoke in front of elders and are expected to walk behind and give way to the elders when they meet. Korean minority family, the eldest son will support his parents forever, and a person who doesn't loses respect in the community. But that's not a worry with this family. Ooh, I'm starving. Time to take a peek in the kitchen and see if I can help get lunch ready. Kimchi is a pickled cabbage spiced with garlics, capsicums, gingers, and chilies. I've never seen it made, but it was a ton of fun massaging the chili paste into each layer of the cabbage. Rice and rice-made foods are staple foods of the Korean minority. The rice dishes are usually complemented with a range of hot and cold dishes, ranging from soup, meat pickles, and my favorite, kimchi. Dakao is made from powdered rice mixed with water to create a paste. It's then beaten with a mullet to make it more elastic and give it that sticky, chewy texture. It's the men's job to beat the dakao, and to spread out the work, two men work together. The Korean minority are known for their team spirit, and these two work perfectly in sync to beat the dakao into the cake paste the Korean minority loves so much. I had a couple of goes, but it's seriously tiring. At one point, I even smashed my finger. But I won't show you my pain here. Okay, it's time to give the mullet back. I'm done with this. The next day, we traveled to the town of Wangqing to meet with a fourth-generation master of elephant trunk hat dance. He tells me that in the past, the hats were made of animal skin, but that has now been replaced by steel. And the beads on the hat are from a Korean tradition of using colors to represent youth. And now for a little lesson.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Hey, it's not turning very well.
对了，圆圈对了，对了，会了吧？
会了。
就这样就行。
How's that?
But before I ruin the dance for you, this is how it should be done. It's rare to see an outdoor performance smack in the middle of winter, but we were lucky. The elephant trunk hat dance is the highlight of the dance series performed to celebrate harvest time. The men are the lead performers for this dance, while the women control the beat with traditional drums. The dance is energetic and a real pleasure to watch. Watch him go! A ribbon is attached to the top of the hat, and the men use their heads to swing it around themselves and their dance partners. There are two types of ribbon, the short, which becomes the short trunk of an elephant, and the long, which, well, yep, the long trunk of an elephant. This dance is almost hypnotic, and it's not enough to watch it just once. I could probably sit and watch them swing their heads in a circular motion, tossing lengths of ribbon into the air all day. It's a beautifully synchronized dance that requires excellent neck, head, and shoulder control, and that takes years and years of practice. So it's no wonder that this dance is ranked as a National Cultural Heritage Dance. Back we go to the city of Hongchun. I love the signs that appear in Chinese, Korean, and Russian here. They really show how integrated and accepting these three cultures are of each other. We travel to Korean Minority Middle School to see the place where young minds are formed and young athletes begin their training. The Korean minority have tremendous respect for education and learning, but academics aside, sports is seen as one of the main forms of education here, and they also put a lot of emphasis on maintaining traditional sports. Young girls train for years to be able to swing like this. The aim is to swing high enough to touch the bell. Competitions are judged in two parts. First, the number of times they're able to touch the bell, and second, how high they're able to swing. And amongst the traditional sports, the worldwide favorite sport of football is also especially loved here. Football is especially popular among Korean men, and the Yanbian area has a reputation of being the land of football. Although being on the land doesn't really do much for my skill.
You're not giving the ball!
Turns out these middle school boys can still dance circles around me. What a pity.
The Korean minority are known for their sporting traditions. The boys in soccer, and while the seesaw and the swing are for boys and girls, the girls specialize in it. Look at them training. Good, they start at an early age too.
The cameraman has a go, but he's a little too heavy for the girls to lift. Let's see if I'll do any better.
I can. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
The trick is to jump without bending your knees. Try it. It's not that easy. I'm doing pretty good.
They're a lot better than I am.
These middle school girls have been training on the seesaw for 3 or 4 years now, and it's a graceful sport that combines gymnastics and acrobatics. I mean, look at how high they jump. The girls use props such as fans, ribbons, and hoops to turn the sport of seesawing into a jaw-dropping performance that combines strength and flexibility. As a kid in school, we used to just sit on the seesaw, but here, art is created. But it's not just an individual sport. It involves a lot of communication and teamwork. The girls rely on their partner to push them into the air, while 2 other girls sit in the middle of the board to hold it down, and the others stand guard nearby in case they miscalculate their landing. And we're on the road again. This time we travel to a small village called Mijiang, where there is a national cultural heritage known for the traditional Korean minority instruments. It's a small, peaceful village, and I meet 2 Han Chinese girls who tell me that they're going to a class that practices traditional Korean minority instruments. I ask if I can follow along, and they said yes. The Korean minority are very fond of music, and sometimes they can be found singing and dancing, accompanied to the sounds of drums and flutes while at work in the fields and construction sites. They might not be at a field or a construction site, but this get-together is a mix of people, old, young, Korean minority, and the two Han Chinese girls who have told me that they play these instruments because they enjoy the sound and beauty of the music. And it's here that they work together to share and maintain the sounds of traditional Korean songs played with traditional instruments. In the winter, it gets pretty cold up here, and by 4:20 p.m., it's usually pitch dark. It kind of threw me off schedule, but it's lucky that I managed to arrive at the oldest traditional Korean minority house located at the border of North Korea and China, right before it's dark out. And judging by the sound of the commotion inside, just in time for dinner preparation. Nothing like a warm fire when it's cold out. This indoor fire is a traditional stove, and it's nothing short of miraculous. Meals are prepared quickly and easily, which was really important for the farmers in the past. Throw in some rice garnished with corn kernels, pour in the water, and wait for it to cook. Sounds easy enough, but now for the more complicated part. Dajiang is a delicious dried bean cake that's mixed with water to form a traditional bean soup eaten at every meal. It takes about a year before these cakes are dried and ready to be used in the kitchen, but trust me, it's worth the wait. In the Korean minority customs, both children and the old are loved and cherished. Family life is a really important part of their culture, and each year there's even a festival to pay respect to the old. While the cooking is being done, the house is heated at the same time. It's such a great way to cut wastage and conserve energy. 3 meals cooked on these stoves will keep the entire house warm throughout the day. Time for dinner, and the food looks and smells delicious. I love Korean food, and there's nothing like a home-cooked meal and some great conversation. Turns out, they bought the house around 45 years ago, and they raised their children here. While their children have all grown up, their grandson, Si-gang, comes to visit whenever he can. When I first came into the house, Si-gang ran away screaming, but it didn't take him long to warm up.
It's freezing cold, but I had to come up here on Changbai Mountain. It's a holy place for both the Korean minority and the Korean people. That lake over there was known to be a volcanic crater in the past. Take a look at this view.
And it's a spectacular view. It's definitely the most beautiful part of Changbai Mountains. If you look into the horizon, you'll see the clouds that hover lazily over the mountains. The Changbai Mountain is made up of waterfalls, rivers, forests, hot springs, and is inhabited by the wildlife. The drive up and down may be bumpy, but you can see why so many battle the cold and the bumpy roads just to get a glimpse of the mountain and the Tianshi Lake. You can get to the Changbai Mountain by traveling to the capital city of Yanji and then driving up to the Erdalhaihe County. And if you'd like to spend a few days up in the mountains, surrounded by beautiful scenery, you can even camp out or stay in the luxurious lodges.
The Korean minority placed a lot of importance in upholding their traditional morals and values, such as respecting their elders, loving their children, and teamwork in sports. I've had such an exciting time being a part of their lives, and I hope you have too. Join me next time on Travelogue. I'm Michelle Lean. Annyeong! Oops, I meant annyeonghae. That's bye. The cold must have gone to my head. I'll see you next time.